Hey Card Pack, this is Justin Holiday of the Indiana Pacers. Welcome to the Sports Card Consultant Show. First of all, you better get my rookie card. It's gonna blow up. Second, thanks for supporting the show and being awesome. Enjoy.
Hey, what's up, Card Pack? Today we're gonna talk about the elephant in the room. Is the modern sports card market crashing? Is it gonna keep going down? What's happening? I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. We're going to go over some data and do our best to answer that question. Want to remind you, I'm giving away an NFL Prizm Cello pack. All you got to do to enter the giveaway is click the link in the description to the podcast and leave a review. So click the podcast link in the description and leave a review. You'll be entered in the contest, and I'll be picking the winner live on the channel on March 8th. So it's coming up. And you know what? There's only been a few reviews so far. So your odds are looking pretty good. I'd get over there and leave a review because it doesn't look like very many people are going to do it. I don't know what's going on. Also want to remind you I have the Sports Card Society where almost every day I'm making an exclusive sports card video for my members outlining a sports card investment opportunity that I dug deep into the research and found and feel really good about. And the videos are only about 5 minutes long. I show them the card and then I show them the research and my results as to why I believe this card's going up and what I plan on doing with it in terms of holding it long term, flipping it quick, or flipping it in a few months, whatever that is, that exit strategy. For instance, this 1990 Skybox MJ PSA 9, we were getting it for around $30. Today it's going for $115. Chipper Jones, back in January, getting it for around $70. Now it's going for almost $200. This Kobe Bryant rookie here, we were getting it for in January for around $160, $170. Today it's going for upwards of $550. This 2008 Topps LeBron, we were getting it for $130, $140 PSA 9, and today it's going for over $600. So a lot of good stuff there. Plus, I hook members up with discount PSA grading. They get 25-day grading for just $20 and 5-day grading for just $75. And if you go on the PSA website, they don't have it listed anymore, but this was 25-day for $50 and 15-day for $75. So pretty good resource there. Plus, we have an awesome Discord filled with awesome members that are very active in the sports card investment community and are constantly helping each other out, giving tips, answering questions, sharing what they're doing, what their thoughts are on things. It's a very good community to be a part of. That alone is worth the price of admission. And I'm going to be raising the price on the society. Right now, it's only $9.99 a month or $99 a year. The link is in the description, sportscardsociety.com. Be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed. I mean, come on. Get hooked up with this content every day. And smash that bell. And please hit that like button. You're awesome. All right, let's take a look at this. We're going to look at the Market Movers tool. We're going to be in here mostly today. And we're going to be looking at some of the price changes on cards and looking at their charts. So what I did here, I went to price movements by player. I just pulled up basketball, PSA 10, and I sorted by ones that are going down the most. Players, that is. So Anthony Simons, for instance, has 6 cards. We're going to go through this one pretty quick. So we got more charts to look at that I think are a better indicator of what's going on in the modern sports card market, as well as what I think they're going to do and why. So as you see here, I mean, Tim Duncan was going up like crazy. Now his cards that are in the tool are down 30%. Drummond, I mean, Lillard, Dame, Garnett, they're all going down. Let's look at the next page. LaMelo Ball's going down. Magic Johnson's going down. Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant is going down. Now, those aren't modern sports cards because we're talking about active players. Those ones were bound for a cool down, so that makes sense. They went up so damn high so fast that they bound to cool down a little bit, the vintage guys, the legend guys. De'Aaron Fox. I mean, look at all these names. They're all going down. John Morant down 8% overall with his 30 cards in the system. LeBron James even down 8%. Devin Booker down 7%. Luka down 6%. This just keeps going on. So these are some pretty big names, and they're going down, and they've been going down. So what I thought, I'm going to pull up some charts, and we're going to go over some stuff. So here we go. First thing, we're going to look at Luka, because he kind of leads the way for the modern sports card market from the guys, 2014 on probably. I just need some coffee real quick. So I pulled this back to the this is pulled all the way back to, it's wrong date up here, but it's pulled all the way back to the beginning of December. and all the way till today, which is the 24th of February. And I pulled up his Prizm, Optic, and Select bases. His Select would be his concourse. I'm calling that his base. As you can see here on this chart, it went up pretty high here around the beginning of the basketball season. This is literally the start date of the basketball season. Excuse me, right here is. And then Christmas Eve, Christmas, it's up. And then it just starts going down. This is Prizm that we're looking at. Overall in this time period, it went down about 22%. The green one is his Select Concourse. Now that one's actually gone up a little bit, up 5.7% over that same period. And the Optic has gone down around 24%. And the Prizm around 21% in that same time period. So that's a good one to look at right there. So since that's been going on a while, ever since the basketball season started, people are like, is our modern cards ever going to go back up? I mean, what's going on here? And when I look at this, I think that is historically accurate for cards to go down during the season. And when the season is going on, like past the All-Star game, we get closer to the playoffs and get a more clear picture of who's going to be in the playoffs, cards start going back up. Pretty much all cards start going back up, but the ones that are going to be in the playoffs or look likely to be in the playoffs tend to go up more because there's all this hype leading into the season. And then when the season starts, it's kind of like there's not much to really drum up that emotion because the modern market is highly driven by, yes, performance and stuff, but it's driven by emotion a lot, as is the entire card market, as is life, really. But there's not all that much emotion at this point in the season, the beginning half of the season, because, I mean, there's less than there is leading up to the season. You know what I mean? The hype. Like, literally, here's the climax, and then it's just like winding down. And the next climax to happen is the playoffs. And that's exactly what I mean. But I got other points to bring up with you also. Again, pop counts matter. This Optic base, 3,500. Prizm, 16,000. This Select is only 1,251. As you see, Select is the only one that didn't go down over this time period. It actually went up. Because of the low pop count? Can't say for sure, but that would be my guess. Even Optic's got a much lower pop count. I would say, in my opinion, I think Optic's been a little disrespected with that. Because if Prizm's going down 21% and Optic's going down 24%, and it's only got a quarter of as many, 25% of the pop count of the Prizm, I feel like it's a little harsh on the Optic. Let's go into Luka's more high-end cards now. So I pulled up the same Select Prizm Optic, but I pulled up their silvers and hollow, which is just another name for silver. And over this time, the Prizm has gone down 11% compared to the 21% for the base. The hollow has gone down 6.8% compared to 24% for the Optic base. And the Concourse Silver has gone up 35% compared to up 5% for the base. Isn't that interesting? The more premium, the silvers, outperformed the bases, and actually one of the cases went up. In two of the cases went down by as much as half for the Prizm and 25% for the hollow. Now let's look at these pop counts. 253, 1998, which is pretty high for a premium card like that. I mean, that's over half of the regular Optic. And then the Select at 169. So again, this leads me to think that, I think pop count has something to do with this. Because that whole supply-demand ratio, people want these more than they want the base. Yet there are way less of these than there are the base. So that right there is supply-demand ratio is going to be much higher in favor of the value of the card and holding power of the card than a base. And I got another conclusion about this. Stay to the end of the video and I'll really get into that. But I have more of my case to lay out before I make that final statement, argument, whatever. By the way, if you like this Market Movers tool, that's what I'm using to do all this. I'll leave a link for it in the description. Use code SOCIETY for 20% off your first month of your first year. This is the most important thing I use in sports card investing. I say it all the time. Like you can't do sports card investing without this. You just can't. Because if you're going to sit there and use 130 point and eBay, you are wasting a tremendous amount of time, and you are not organizing all that data in your head the way that you can just look at this chart. It's just not even, well, I don't want to spend the money for market movers every month. Well, then you're losing a lot of money, and you're losing a lot of time, and you're not even that. You're making a crap load less money than you would. That's exactly how I feel about it. So if you're at all serious about sports card investing, give this a try. Use code SOCIETY, 20% off your first month or your first year. Whichever subscription you choose, I suggest you commit to using this thing for at least 3 months, because it's just a robust tool, and you'll have to get in here and use it. You know what I mean? You'll have to actually get in here and start to get the feel for it. You're looking at these charts, you watch it a lot with me, but getting in here and using it on your own is a slightly different thing, because you're going to want to check out all kinds of stuff all the time, and you're going to figure out your patterns and your way of usage of this. All right, back to the content. Now we're going to look at Giannis, his bases. Now his base cards have a much lower pop count than Luka. His Prizm's only 2469 compared to Luka's 16,000. Doesn't even really look like him to me. And then his select is only 1,099. And now back here at the beginning of the basketball season, the Prizm was 4,200. The select was 1,600. Today, the Prizm is down 15%. The select is down 12.5% to 3,500 and 1,400. That's interesting, right? You see it's ticking down. So down 15% and 12%. Let's see where these ones are at. Down 10%, up 15% for the select silver. Down 10% for the Prizm silver. That's interesting. Wouldn't have expected the Prizm to have that kind of drop. Actually, the lowest is 18% as of recent for the Prizm base. But again, the pop counts are so much lower on the base. 2469 for the Prizm, 1099 for the select. And the Prizm silver is a pop count of only 74. And the select silver is only 71 for Giannis. That is rare. That is rare. And that's why it's extra surprising to me that the Prizm is actually down 10%. But the select here you see is up 15%. All right, so that's that. Let's move on to the next. Last but not least, Zion. He's like as modern as it gets, right? Pretty much as modern as it gets. And at the beginning of the basketball season, his Prizm was 949, his select concourse was 360, and his optic base was 335. And these are PSA 10s, of course. Such a weird look on his face. And then right now, as of yesterday, the Prizm is at 613, the select concourse is at 361, and the optic base is at 238. So the Prizm's down 35%, the select is up 0.4%, and the optic is down 29%. That's what I would expect, because he's about as modern as it gets. He's done less than Luka, and Luka's down, but he's not down that much, and Giannis is down even less than Luka. So that's Zion bases. Let's look at his more premium cards now. His Prizm Silver, his Optic Hollow, and his Concourse Silver. So his Prizm Silver started the season at 6,500 with a pop count of 1134. His Optic Hollow has a pop count of 341, and his Select Silver has a pop count of 301. Now the Prizm has went down 33%, Prizm Silver. That's interesting. That's quite a pop count there, 1134 for a silver. With that being said, if you noticed, Luka's Prizm Silver is almost 2,000, which is interesting because it's a lower print run in 2018 than 2019, but from what I can tell, the silver print run in 2018 was more than 2019. Yes, there were more 2019 bases printed, but there were more 2018 silvers printed. Interesting. Good to know. And I'll leave the links to some of these that I think are actually worth buying or worth taking a look at. I'll leave links to them in the description. But we'll get to that in a second, because I'm going to show you which ones I'm actually interested in a minute. So his Prizm Silver down 33%, his Select Concours Silver up 14%, and his Holo down 32%. I think the Holo is getting disrespected. It's just getting too compared to the Prizm. But the pop counts are obviously quite different. It's, 341 compared to 1134. And then, of course, the Select is 301. I mean, the Holo and the Select shouldn't really be, well, they are pretty similar in price, actually. Because the Select Silver is going for $1,300. The Optic Holo is going for $1,700. And the Prizm Silver is going for $4,350. I think that the Prizm is overvalued. I mean, look at that pop count. So, what does all this tell me? First of all, I told you, in my experience and from historical data, the modern sports card market goes down during this time of the year, from the beginning of the season till slightly after the All-Star break. And then when the playoff picture gains a little more clarity, a little more certainty, cards start ticking back up, especially the ones they think are going to be in the playoffs. But overall, that just pulls up cards in general because the general market sees that a good number of cards are going up, and they're like, oh, well, if this card is worth this much, why is Zion only this much? Stuff like that. Even though the Pelicans, I don't think will make the playoffs, his cards will probably still go up. In my opinion, in my opinion, I would say educated opinion, but no one can ever guarantee anything. And here's what I also realized: this has been about a year now of the sports card market exploding, and I think money and people are getting smarter and coming up with a better plan of what to buy. And what I think people are realizing is that these base cards are very overpopulated and overpriced. And I don't know how much these base cards go back up, with your exception of Select, because its pop counts are pretty low. Even Optic's pretty low, but Select is exceptionally low. So as you see, all of them went down. The Prizm down 12% for Luka. His Optic down 10% over the course of the season, and his Select is up 5.7. What about Giannis? Well, Giannis is a little bit different story. But his Prizm is down 18%, and his Select is up 8% over the course of the season. These are the bases. And Zion's Prizm is down 35%, his Optic is down 29%, and his Select Concours is up 0.4%. So that says something to me. How about you? It says Select, that pop count being really low, much lower than the other ones, is pretty solid. Pretty solid. This is Concours, 1775, which his Prizm base is 15627, and his Optic is 578. I think Optic's getting a little disrespected. Might be a good time to buy Optic. Yeah, I think Optic is definitely getting disrespected because its pop count is not crazy, but it's not as low as Select, that's for sure. I also think Select should be worth more than Prizm. That's right, I said it. Why? Because there's almost 10 times more Prizm. That's why. That's why. And Select, I believe, will be going up in value, period, because the market is getting smarter and becoming more aware of it. It's a hobby-only product, but it seems to me that it's going to start having a retail distribution, meaning it's going to get in more people's hands, the future ones, and so it's just going to gain more knowledge and value in people's minds because they'll actually have owned some Select. Hope that makes sense. And for, these silvers and these holos, I think that money is also going to move into more stuff like that and away from base. So I think these values are actually going to be higher than they've ever been. Will they be by the playoffs time this year? I don't know, but I think over the next year, absolutely is my guess. So what I'm buying is, if I'm buying base, I'm buying Select, maybe Optic. And then I'm really trying to push my money into silvers and holos and rare stuff. When I say rare stuff, I mean if you can get into choice red out of 88, choice tiger stripe, courtside silver. What else? There's so many rare things here. So even rarer than silver, ruby wave, rookie penmanship, autos. Oh my goodness, red ice, pink ice, orange ice. Those are even more rare than the silvers. Stuff like that. Stuff that are probably at least the silvers, but they're just more rare. That's what the smart money in the market's going to do. It's going to keep shifting towards rarity. rarity. They're going to say, how can I take my money off of these? Because I think the base cards are still overvalued with the exception of select. And I think that silver cards, these rarer cards, are undervalued in the market. I think they're all undervalued in the market right now because I think they're all going to go up as we get closer to the playoffs. But I think the silvers and the more rare ones, the more rare it is, the more it's going to outpace the less rare ones, such as the Prizm base. That's a good one to really compare things to. So I'll leave links in the description to some of these cards that I think are worth taking a look at, maybe buying. Your call. I told you what I like. I like, if you got to have base, I think it's got to be select. And other than that, maybe optic because the pop counts are still, a third or 25% of the Prizm, yet less than half the price. And really good looking cards. They got the rated rookie logo and stuff like that. You look at Luka at 3501 for his, as opposed to 16,000 for his Prizm. 3,500 for the optic, 16,000 for the Prizm. And the optic is all the way down here at 642, while the Prizm's up at 1325 at more than double. That just doesn't make sense. I mean, sure, maybe more people want Prizm, but there's just so many new people coming in and have come in that they're just buying what everyone else is buying. That's what I think. And everyone says buy Prizm, so they buy Prizm, and it inflates this price, even though it's very not rare. I wouldn't say this is rare, but this is certainly has a much lower supply than the Prizm, the optic with 3,500 compared to the Prizm with 16,000. So that's what I got for you. I'm going to leave links in the description to some of these. Join the society before the price goes up. A lot of good stuff there. If you think this is good, I'd dive in way, way, way deeper. I'm going to dive in deeper to this. I'm going to find a super duper diamond gem that I only share with my members. $9.99 a month or $99 a year. I'll be raising the price on it. Link in the description, SportsCardSociety.com. If you like this market movers tool, link is also in the description. Use code SOCIETY for 20% off your first month or your first year, whichever subscription you choose. And if you want to join that giveaway, you get that NFL Prizm Cello pack. I've only had 4 reviews so far. Click the podcast link in the description and leave a review, and you'll be entered in the contest. Right now, your odds are pretty damn good. That's for sure. I'm going to pick the winner on March 8th. I've been running this thing for almost a week, and I only have 4 reviews. I mean, maybe there's 15 by the time March 8th comes up, which would be very disappointing. I mean, come on, guys, give me a little love here, please. And but pretty good odds to win the damn pack. I mean, it's about a $40 pack plus shipping. So, not to mention what you can get in it: Herbert, Burrow, Tua, Clyde, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, the Burrow and Herbert and Tua alone. I mean, come on. All right. Stay classy. You are awesome.